Today we have Daily Mail Business, lovely business-based account. What skateboarding really does to the human body. Your body on sport. Your brain on drugs. I feel like this will be kind of interesting. I love watching videos that are non-skaters talking about skateboarding. I feel like I'm an expert on what skateboarding does to your body, been skating for 25 years. So I'm curious to see what they think. I'm curious to see what I think, so let's go.
This is what breaking your wrists looks like.
Been there.
If you're going to break anything on a skateboard, it'll most likely be your wrist.
Or ankle.
In the sudden moment of falling, your first instinct might be to reach your hand out to brace for impact. But that just focuses all that landing force into one area.
I broke the growth plate.
Now for the right way.
When I was like 70.
When we try a trick, falling is baked into it.
See, like, you see how you can tell it's by a non-skater? Yeah, street skating. Let's put a video of them street skating.
Right
okay, rolling downstairs. Yeah, no shit, he's gonna break his wrist.
Baked into it. The best way to fall is to spread out the fall over time and space.
Okay. So he's giving good advice, but this guy did not really do that in the example.
All right. We didn't want you to fall, but now we got the clip of you falling, so that's good.
Yeah, right. Just snapped my tib fib. Damn, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's not a good one. Your body on sport. I like the production value there.
Skateboarders come in all shapes and sizes. I think that there's pros and cons to different body types, like the shorter skaters. I think they have a lower center of gravity, so they might be able to do more technical tricks, have that control. Whereas a taller skater, I mean, pretty much every obstacle is gonna feel a little bit smaller.
Tony Hawk was like pretty tall.
Yeah, Tony Hawk would be an example of like a taller skater that was definitely very good at, you know, manipulating the board in the air and everything on the ramps.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was gonna cry if you didn't see that one.
As a skater, you might gravitate towards different kinds of tricks based on your body type. I know I'm the shorter end of things, so maybe I would shy away from jumping down like really big sets of stairs because they.
People like to talk about shit like this. Oh, I'm taller, so I skate rails. I'm shorter, so I do this. I don't know. Like, I like to live a life where you don't put like unnecessarily constraints on yourself and you say, I'm too tall. I'm not going to do this. I'm short, so I can't do this. I think just do whatever. You got whatever body type, just try. Just try, see what works, see what doesn't. I wouldn't listen to anyone telling you, you shouldn't do this, you should only do this.
It would just seem really, really scary to me, where I might focus more on like technical combinations, being able to twist, and I think my lower center of gravity really helped that because relative to the board, I was closer to it.
There are definitely more skaters in the spotlight these days who are a little on the larger build, especially upper body. Like, yeah, Jamie Foy is bigger, but who's that one dude?
Frankie
He was in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, he was in the Olympics. Cardano Russell or something.
I mean, I think Jamie Foy and Frankie Villani build is very separate to Cardano build, and I don't really agree with that. They're just saying, by them saying there seems like there's more, it means now one exists, whereas before zero existed, and now there's three that exist. I don't think that means more, but it is kind of interesting to see how people scale different body types.
Yeah.
Damn, it says he was 104 kg. Oh my gosh, no wonder he breaks boards.
One downside to being like a taller, like more muscular, heavier skateboard would be that they break boards all the time, like jumping down things. If you're just off a little bit, if you know you want to land with your feet on the bolts, but if you're just off by a little bit and you've got that extra weight, you're just snapping boards.
Just that pressure point. Yeah, I mean, that's something for me personally. I haven't broken too many boards in the many years of skating, probably because I haven't, you know, just don't weigh as much.
Skateboards can typically hold around 200 pounds or 90 kilograms of standing.
This is news to me. Where are they getting this information?
Skateboards can typically hold around 200 pounds or 90 kilograms of standing weight, with longboards bearing 250 pounds on average. They're primarily made from 7 to 9 layers of maple wood, which has a tight grain structure that makes it ideal for resisting impacts. But on higher impacts, like when you ollie, you're generating more weight, nearly 4 times your body weight, adding stress not only to the board, but to your lower limbs as well. We'll be getting to that later when we talk body parts.
All right, I'll hear you out, but I feel like it's just made up.
Because traditionally it's been like, you know, lankier and maybe like lighter was better, but
thinking of a skater like being like very lean, just like skating all day and that like cardio, just like burning so many calories and not taking a break and just being like really lean, maybe more
60 minutes of skateboarding could burn anywhere from 300 to 500 calories. I mean, Jenkin Mag is the code. I don't know. It depends how you skate. I could skate and burn 0 calories, or I could skate and burn insane level of calories. So it all kind of depends. It's like it's like saying going to the gym burns this much. Yeah, what did you do at the gym? It very varies a lot.
Bruce Lee physique.
On a more general level, I think every skateboarder should try to stretch a bit. I think there is more of a focus on like improving your fitness outside of the skate park, meaning like, you know, going to the gym.
Right down the stairs, Mr.
Back
Host.
in the day, we would say training for skateboarding was basically just skateboarding all day.
Yep.
Because with skateboarding, you're not just doing the tricks and things you see, but we're also skating from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And I think even to this day, there's skaters out there that if you ask them, what do you do to train to skateboard? They would say, I just go skate, man.
I watch this and it's respectfully bad. I feel it. It hasn't been off to the best
New
start.
York City, for example, spots all over. You spend the whole day skating.
That doesn't
from
mean
point
it's
A
not fun to
point B.
watch.
That in itself is a workout. Even when you're there, you're kind of warming up with your tried and true tricks over and over again. Just repetition. Over and over again. Just repetition.
The board.
So this is my skateboard. We've got the board itself is made out of wood. On the top, it's covered with this grip tape,
Sandpaper.
this black stuff. It's almost like sandpaper that your feet grip to. Underneath, these are the trucks, and on the trucks are the wheel assembly. The truck actually bends a bit, so that's how when we're riding and we push on our toe or heel, the board will carve. And then we've got our wheels with the bearings inside there. And if you look at the board, we've got 2 kicktails. This is the back, we call that the tail, and the front kicktail we actually call the
This
nose.
video is
So
for
we have
aliens?
the nose and the tail of the board. When we're standing on a
This gives me not the news, but the like puff piece news energy on like doing a documentary on skateboarding. Like, I don't know, these guys seem like real skaters though, but it's like the edit and everything. It's kind of interesting. See, when I talk to non-skaters, I talk like this too. I'll say, "There's the wooden part, there's the sandpaper, there's the turning, and then there's the wheels." I talk like that too. When you got to know the audience, you know, we're talking to someone that knows 0 about skating.
skateboard, you can look down and even though you can't see the trucks, you can see the bolts that attach the trucks to the board. And so we always tell
wooden part. I always
people
say
just
that.
learning the skateboard, you want to make sure you put your feet over the bolts. That's so important in skateboarding that when you see someone land a trick like really well, you might say bolts as like a compliment. Behind that, we've got the kicktail. So if you were going to be doing any kick turns or any other tricks, that's where you get leverage here. So you put your weight back. You can pop your tail. You can spin it around. So there's all different ways to manipulate the board there. Wow, buttery.
That little quad vibe looks kind of sick.
Yo! Steezed out on that one. The first one
Skating
was
with
buttery.
style and ease.
Yo! Steezed out on that one.
Nice. That's what I used to always think it was. I think someone told me it doesn't mean that.
The first one was buttery and the second one was
good.
steezed out.
Buttery. Homie's dropping all the buzzwords.
As you can see from my board, we also use different parts of the board besides the wheels to do different tricks. So when we're on our wheels, that's just riding the skateboard. But we could do tricks where we're sliding on the wooden part. That would be a board side or a nose side, tail side. And then you could also see
Hold on a minute.
wooden part that would be.
See, this is the thing. Look, how do I, when this stupid company makes a video, they need to call up a company, my company, rickyglaser skateboardfactchecks.com. They go to rickyglaser skateboardfactchecks.com, they send me the video, they go, yo, is this a good video? And I go, hell no. You're saying board side, this is a front side lip slide. You're an
board
idiot.
side or a nose
They say, no slide, no, this is a crooked grind. You're an
side,
idiot.
tail side.
And then, okay, they got a tail slide. Nice. I go 1 out of 3, Mr. Educational Documentary. Like, It's sad. It's like, imagine if they're playing football, like soccer or NFL or something, and they go, "This is a touchdown," and they just show something that's not a touchdown. Like, it's actually that bad. You know what I mean? I need to make the company, and they call me up.
And then you could also see on the trucks, they've been ground down a bit from doing different kinds of grinds on obstacles such as rails
got the
or
crux.
ledges, things like that. My board has a bit of wear.
It's a good business
had it
idea.
For about a month, I think. That's about a month of wear. Actually, not too
People
much
are
wear for a
editing
month,
at
but-
old conservatives in a gated London community. But where's the fact check? I bet you these guys didn't even watch the end product. Like, they just interviewed these guys and then this channel went off and made the video. At least get one skater to fact check it and say like, oh, actually, that is not the right thing that you just said. Shame to the editor. Yeah, like, I don't blame these guys. I'm sure these guys never got to see the final cut. Because even they will say, yo, what the hell?
Part of the body might be what you're doing with your core on the skateboard, because everything is
The guy in
connected
the
to
vid,
that.
he sounds
You
like he
certainly
doesn't
feet,
know what
legs,
he's doing.
ankles,
Is
that's
he an
important.
actual
Your arms,
skater
but
himself? Cheer
kind of like
100.
where you are in relation to
Yeah,
where
these
your
guys seem
skateboard
like
is
actual skaters.
is
He just
really
would chill.
important, especially in the beginning. It's one of the pivotal things we'll say is, you know, bring your core down, or if you're going to be doing a turn, you want to have your weight back, finding your center. And
Why
then
get a
moving
skater to
around
fact
that.
check when you
This
can
is
just have false
really
confidence?
important. If you were to go up the ramp
True.
and keep your center of gravity in the same
See,
exact
that's the thing is, like, if any competent skater ever, like, actually watched this, they would say, that's a lip slide, that's a crook. But this just shows that it didn't. So, you know, this is what I feel about life. This is what getting older and has told me about life. Okay, I ever see skating on the news, I ever see any kind of channel make a video about skating, it's wrong. It was not a board slide, it wasn't a crook. It may be half right, but it was wrong. Okay, I know a lot about skating and now I see that. What about when they're making vids about stuff I don't know about? They must be wrong all the time and I don't know because I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Isn't that kind of scary to think about? It's like, how can you trust anyone ever? Because you're like, man, they're probably wrong just like they're wrong about this skating stuff.
place, you're going to quickly have your weight off and over the board and slip back. So you're always kind of shifting your weight back and forth, kind of in coordination with your knees. It's almost like playing catch with your own weight, because you let your board go out and then come back and then you keep going.
Not the best explanation of pumping. The best thing you say to non-skater, this is how you talk to non-skater. I'm the non-skater whisperer. How you say to non-skaters, oh yeah, it's like a swing set. You know how you pump on the swing set? And they go, oh yeah. And you go, yeah, it's the same. You just do it with your knees. And they go,
That
wow.
really comes into play when you learn how to pump.
You
When
blew
you
my
jump
mind
into
because
a
that makes
halfway,
sense.
Gravity gives you potential energy, which turns
you can
into
never
kinetic
unthink
energy
it
as
now.
you descend. But with friction and air resistance slowing you down, it'll only get you so far before you lose height and stop altogether. If you bend your knees and push into the floor here, you're using your own body to add to your energy pool. If on the other side you bring your body up, you're adding even more energy to propel you into the air.
Whoa, whoa!
It's very similar to, learning how to swing, like on a swing
Yes!
set by yourself. You're using that momentum where you go
This
back,
guy
you get your
knows.
legs up, and then as you're coming down, releasing that tension,
Hell
by
yeah.
straightening out your legs and pushing them out in front of
I
you.
told you, non-skater
Kind of
whisperer.
propels you and gives you that momentum, and it's very similar to, when you're on this ramp, you can go back and forth and back and forth, and when you figure out how to really use your knees to your advantage to help you kind of retain the same amount of speed or even go faster, it's fun.
And when kids, once they learn how to do it and keep
Oh.
themselves going, 20 minutes
Yeah,
later,
they can't
they're
get
still-
off.
They're still going.
They're on this all day. It's especially with pro skaters or even anybody really who's been skateboarding for a very long time, it's often your knees that start to feel just the weight of all that, repetition
Feel that.
and jumping down stuff over the course of time.
When we're skating, we're starting out by always keeping our knees slightly bent.
So remember the theme of this, guys. This wasn't how to begin skating. This was what does skating do to your body. I feel like we haven't really talked about that at all in 10 minutes, but I just remembered that that's
Because
what it was
that
actually
way
about.
We have a bit of a buffer if we need to go up. A lot of times when people are first starting, they might stand with their feet very straight, but then if you hit a little crack, you'll fall right over.
Yeah.
With your knees bent a little bit, you have that bounce. And so a lot of times on a skateboard, even when we're not jumping, we're applying weight to the board or we're de-weighting,
Yeah.
and we're doing that primarily through our knees. Also, any trick where you are leaving the ground and coming back to it. Your knees are the most important part of shock absorption, so you have to be able to absorb that impact. If you were to land with your knees straight, you're going to get all that force up through your body, and it's going to start. You're going to start to feel it pretty quick.
Yeah, in that sense too, like your knees sort of act as springs, right?
When you ollie, you're generating nearly 4 times your body weight for the impact. With that stress
I don't know,
going
is
to
that
your
true?
lower limbs, you need to rely on your foot bones and soft tissue to absorb and distribute that force. Unlike
Do we?
basketball, where you'll absorb shock on your vertical foot arches, skateboarders use a flat transverse arch, leaving the metatarsals to absorb the force.
I'm constantly on the balls of my feet, you know, so I use my toes, you know, it helps me feel a little more like
Thank you for the
nimble.
bits.
Metatarsals
Teach us.
2 to 4 absorb the majority of the force, with the 4th metatarsal taking the most stress, about 29 times the pressure of a car
Like,
tire.
is this real?
For a lot of
How do we know this? What is this? 4229 psi?
tricks, kind of the first step is thinking of foot placement. Like if I was helping a friend with a move or a student with a move, it's where do you put your feet, like the foot placement, like beginning and end of the trick.
Is that gonna read it? I think it knows that was too spammy, teachers, but thank you for the 47 bits.
Is kind of your connection to the board.
You're constantly trying to coordinate between, you know, how much weight you're distributing between your toes and your heels.
Next to the skateboard, one of the most important pieces of skate gear are the sneakers that we wear. A lot of times people starting off on skateboards might show up with like a pair of normal like running shoes like this, but there's a couple things that make this not as easy to skate with. And one is the sole is actually very grippy. And so when you're skating, you have too much grip and you want to be able to move your foot around on the skateboard. And the other thing is that the
Thank you, teachers.
extra padding gives you less what we call board feel. So when you have your foot on the board, you want to be able to kind of feel the curvature and shift your foot around to different positions. So that's why when you see skate sneakers, you see this very flat, universal, grippy sole surface there, so that you can grip when you're standing and applying pressure, but you can easily move things around. Also, you can see the parts on the side are also grippy, so that when you're doing things like ollies or kick flips, you're able to grip the grip tape and not rip your shoes too much. And also the soles are very thin, so you get that very curvy like this. But as the skaters age, we realize that wearing these all day starts to hurt, so you might find skaters putting on their skate shoes and then during the day, like these are my personal shoes, so I'll wear these here and then change into these for skateboarding. Maybe in like California in the bowls, you see people skating without shoes. Of course, that's gonna like cause some issues with the grip tape rubbing against the toe knuckles and stuff. But
You can do one
yeah,
kickflip and then you
wouldn't
bleed.
advise it.
I was like, why did that look
A
so
lot of
weird?
times
He was on a
people don't
narrow
think much
thing.
about the arms when they're first skating, but then when we explain it, the arms don't weigh a whole lot, but you can get them very far from your center of gravity, and you can twist them around, so you can take advantage of that to get the centrifugal force. A lot of times when we are doing a spinning move or a turning move, it starts from our shoulders and arms kind of leading that. If you watch skateboarding, you're looking at the skateboard, the lower body, but a lot of the trick is being done actually by the arms, kind of winding and unwinding, and they serve as counterbalances for the tricks you're doing. So if you're really far to this side, you might have your arms this way to balance the weight out, and then vice versa. If you wanted to come back this way really quickly, you can swing your arms to kind of keep that balance.
Yeah, there's just constant negotiation between your upper body and your lower body.
Negotiations.
So, like, you know,
That's an
there's
interesting
a lot
way of
tricks
putting it.
that involve rotating your skateboard and your body. Like if you're doing a 180, for example, you know, you'd lead with your upper body, so up here with your shoulders, and you know, naturally, that makes your body feel a little awkward, like you're twisted up. And so your lower body is going to want to realign with your upper body, and so you always
Ooh,
lead
that
up
was not
here,
the best
and then
180
the lower body's
example.
just very naturally going to follow through.
The thing I always tell students is, look where you want to go. It sounds obvious, but a lot of times when you're skating, you might be kind of one step behind as far as where your head is looking. One example I would give is as you're going up a ramp. If you're just going up a ramp and coming back down the way you came, we would call that going back to fakie. I always say, as you're going up, you start to look back, because that's actually where you're going to go. Once you've kind of figured out what you need to do with your body, then you want to spot where you're heading, especially if you were going back and forth on a mini ramp like this. You're doing the trick, you're looking at the next, kind of spotting where you're about to go. Also when you're skating down the street, even just from point A to point B, you want to make sure that you're kind of looking a little bit ahead for any kind of obstacles that are in your way.
I wonder if they're like why did they pad this out so much? I feel like they haven't even talked about like what we're trying to get to. What skateboarding really does to the human body. Like, they're trying to make it 30 minutes. I feel like we really have barely analyzed. They talk about impact for like 1 second.
Times it could be an uneven crack, or even if it's a smooth ground, if you hit a little pebble, we call it a stop rock. We have very hard, small wheels that wedges there.
In Australia,
and
we
it
used to call it a
stops you in your track.
chalky.
Even the most
Because it draws a
skater,
line.
you
Would
look
say, oh,
back and you see
chalky.
that, the telltale.
You almost never see those coming.
I've never heard stop rock in my whole life. No, please don't talk about soft trucks. We hate soft trucks.
So when you're first starting skating and you're kind of like getting used to pushing around, getting comfortable turning, you're going to want to learn how to ollie, which is the trick that's going to get you
please don't bring them up.
And the way the ollie works is basically we are standing on the board with our front foot towards the middle of the board and our back foot out by the tail like this. And then we start the trick by getting low. And then at the moment,
there's this thing called skater trainers, where it's basically like a rubber cage that you put around your wheel. And Braille would always promote them. They would always do videos with them. Braille was more, they would do videos with them because it would go kind of viral because they look really stupid. But I remember they said, Ricky, will you do these Instagram brand deals for Braille of skater trainers? And then I was like, okay. And then I thought about it and I was like, I fucking hate the idea of skater training so much. And I was like, you know what? I won't do it. And then they're like, okay. And they were bummed. But I was like, bro, it's the stupidest product. Out of all the skate products out there, I absolutely really don't like it. Like, it shouldn't exist. And it exists. It's kind of like a deception. Yeah, this is how you learn. This is how everyone learns. It's like, not really, bro. Like, just be on the grass. That's the exact same. I don't know. Whenever I see people like posting clips of them, I kind of feel like they were tricked into it. Soft trucks, maybe it's a little bit more fun, a little bit whatever. But it's also just stupid though. Like, what's the point of it? You know, to pitch it as like an actual learning device, I think is wrong and like misleading.
We jump up, we kick the tail to the ground. Oh, that was awful.
Dude, it's hard, right? Doing an ollie stationary.
It's so bad. It's so weird stationary.
Yeah, like it teaches bad habits.
But really
exactly.
The better word to use that we would say is snap the tail or pop the tail, because it's a really
I just realized what his thing said. You think this? I guess this is like a skate lesson place. I just seen skate yogi.
And it's happening.
These guys seem nice enough though. I blame the overall editing.
Jumping up. So your body is off, it's de-weighting, it's up in the air, and at the last second, you snap the tail, which then catapults the board into the air, like this. Your front foot goes to the side and starts to pull up the board additionally and also level it out. And then the board and you are going up, and then the board and you go down. You're not actually pulling the board up, you're kind of catapulting it as you're on top of it. It's this motion right here. We call this the ollie board, and it's basically a skateboard with these rubber platforms on, and then that helps isolate the motion of the wheels so that they can really focus on that snapping motion. I might have a student get comfortable just bringing the board up and down. So that's one drill. The next drill is stepping down and getting the foot sideways like this, to comfortable like this. And then you can kind of start to jump and pop. So you're just getting the pop.
You know what I would do if I was this indoor space? Like, I get why they have it. And like, I can't fault him too hard for having it. Yeah, it's like a gimmicky thing. Like, yeah, look how cool my learning is we've got this special equipment. But like, I think it would be nicer, have like a patch of grass or like foam, have like a foam mat with like AstroTurf, like fake grass on it, and say, hey, it's scary on the wood. Come over to the grass and we'll do it in the grass. I feel like that would be cooler than just having this stupid thing. I really despise this product. It's funny if you watch some of the Braille vids, I actually did good tricks on this. Like, I stood at the top of the 5 stair and I like board slid the rail. I can't remember exactly what I did, but I did a few like legitimate tricks, and it's so dumb because like obviously you can't roll away, so you like start stationary, land stationary. But I think we played a bunch of game of skates and stuff
And then
on
you
it.
put it all together.
But I'm very much not a fan.
Nice.
But the trick everyone wants to know if they're getting into skating is the kickflip.
Oh, I've been skating for 1 day. You think I can do it? Sunset flip? Is this just stock footage?
It used to be called an ollie kickflip. Now we just call it a kickflip. When you're taking that
Maya
front
never
foot,
landed the kickflip, no.
sliding up, instead of just sliding up and leveling off, you're
Chandler
sliding
did
up
that.
and then flicking the toe side and making the board flip, and then you catch it back. It's a bit of magic. It feels really awesome when you land it. There's no practical purpose for doing a kickflip outside of an ollie, but it is just the coolest thing.
I find it weird that it wasn't these guys' clip. Why did they use a
A
sunset
lot
clip?
of students, when they're first getting into skating, that's the trick they want to learn.
That's the
and
first
so
thing.
an ollie,
Feel that.
getting a really solid ollie is essential to getting to the kickflip. Yeah,
That was better.
that felt better, right? Yeah.
I'll take that one, I think.
Yeah. So skaters are their own like worst critics. Like you might have
Yeah,
seen.
I feel like
I saw Simon ollie that first try and then 4 times in a row, but you could see him shaking his head. His back foot was like floating a little bit. He just didn't like the way it felt, but like that last one, I think after a few times he got
yeah, I think it felt a little better that time.
yeah, cleaned it up.
It just feels better, you know.
Boom.
We're kind of going into like earlier about how there's like ways to land tricks that are like more desirable than others. He mentioned landing bolts, right? So there were a couple there where felt like I was landing a little bit like a little odd.
The trick is what the board is doing, but the style is what the body is doing.
Yeah,
so
we kinda-
like,
What does skating do to the body? 19 minutes in, all I got was jumping emits 4 times the pressure of standing. Or some
every time
bullshit.
the board went over, so it was an ollie. But the way that he interacted
Boys
with
need
the
to
board,
dance, yeah, for real.
All right, let me say more.
that was good.
Nita.
Was that the
Alright.
best one?
I'll take that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was good. Yeah.
There's a funny thing in skateboarding where they say kickflip is the hardest trick. Like once you learn how to do all these other
I have never heard that. My sentiment is, you'll never fly as high as landing your first kickflip. That like shock and hype, you will never ever replicate it. You learn to 360 flip, it's not the same. You ollie your first set, it's not the same. You do a handrail, it's not the same. You learn a triple kickflip, it's not the same. You'll never replicate the initial like magic of hype of landing the first one. It's all downhill from there.
like advanced tricks, like 360
But I've never
flip.
heard that.
Like once you learn how to do all these other like advanced tricks, like 360 flips and whatever, people often neglect the kickflip.
Another game we play a lot for training, I guess you could call it training in a way, but just for fun, is a game of skate, which is similar to
Oh,
a game
yeah.
of horse. Yeah, horse with a basketball where you're shooting.
Who's this
balls where
guy?
You just find a friend and you take turns trying tricks. And most of the time I'm playing it, it's really just that competitive.
Oh, we
raises
got
the stakes
him.
Just a little bit, but it's really just an excuse.
No way,
to
another
try
letter.
tricks that
Please
you might
no.
not normally try.
Oh. Oh no. Oh! This guy's bailing for sure. Called it. Alright, I'll call the action now. He's got a back 180. Yeah. Fakey big. Switch front shove. Damn. Fakey front shove. Maybe bail. Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll land that. Fakey shove. Yep. Gonna have to do switch shove. Oh! Definitely a bail. Was that nollie or fakey? Nollie? Switch for an 80? Maybe bail. Oh. Yeah, pizza party. You think it's gonna be an 8? Letter 8? 8. Wait, what? Oh, he almost got an angle. Damn, half cap flip. Whoa! Switch front 3? Damn! That was pretty good. We got him. Injuries. The stabilization is tripping me out. Yeah, it's so annoying. I remember as a kid, you always used to not understand why that happened and be bummed.
Skateboarding remains an understudied sport in the academic world, so the average rate of injury can vary.
Shut the fuck up. You're gonna hit me with what skateboarding really does to the human body. Then 22 minutes in, 22 minutes in, you're gonna say, we actually don't have enough data.
Skateboarding remains an understudied sport in the academic world, so the average rate of injury can vary. A study...
Oh my god. What the hell? What is this? What is this? Like, to me, this video, apart from like a tiny little random bits, it has just been like Skate Yogi teaches you basics of skateboarding. Like, I'll admit this is a much more interesting title than like learn the basics of skateboarding. This is a much better title, but I feel like they really haven't delivered.
Between 1980 sport in the academic world, so the average rate of injury can vary. A study between 1987 to 1998 showed a rate of 8.9 injuries per 1,000 participants.
We're taking data from the 80s to 90s. Like, bro, it's 2025, man. Skateboarding has changed a lot since the 90s. And what constitutes an injury? And like, I roll my ankle, no one knows. How are you reporting on that?
1987 to 1998 showed a rate of 8.9 injuries per 1,000 participants, while a survey of 197 skaters in 2020 showed just 0.55 injuries per 1,000 hours of skating.
Well, what are we constituting an injury?
One of the most common ways someone is going to get injured on a skateboard,
Broken wrist,
is
broken ankle.
if they're falling off while they're trying something and then bracing for impact instead of staying loose while they fall. In the moment you fall, you go into fight or flight and you stiffen up, and before you know it, you're taking that impact on one joint instead of being able to spread it out. So you want to keep the momentum going. A lot of times that means bailing the board and keeping
hospitalization.
Keeping
I mean, how many times have I been hospitalized? Twice. So I've had 2 injuries in 25 years. Guess that's pretty low then.
To hit a point, you try to spread the impact. So you're going to roll or compress. So if you're landing on the ground, you might need to roll or hit multiple points. So if I'm falling down, instead of just reaching out like this, I might want to hit multiple points, and it kind of spreads it out and then minimizes the impact to any particular joint. If you're skating a lot and taking a lot of impact, that does end up having an impact on your entire musculoskeletal system. I do know that there are skaters with like back pain or knee pain, maybe not specifically from one particular impact, but just from the repetitive use.
In a 2021
I mean, that's what I
study
have
of
in my
64
knees.
skaters, the lumbosacral region was right behind the knee and ankle in the most frequent areas of pain at 16.
Frequent pain in skateboarders. Yeah, knee is getting you. What's this spine though? I've never really heard too much about back pain like that.
0.5%.
Well, I would say anyone who gets to a certain level of skateboarding, 1,000,000% has rolled their ankle. Like, guaranteed. Maybe broken and didn't even realize, but at least rolled. At least sprained their wrists. Like, there's no way you can skate for even like 1 or 2 years and not roll your ankle and sprain your wrist. So if you skate for 10 plus years, you 1,000,000% have done that. Maybe you haven't broken a bone, but you've definitely done that.
Areas of pain at 16.5%. All areas of the body that take the most stress from impacts.
If you think of skateboarding too, even just the motion of pushing on a skateboard is asymmetric. So after a whole day of skateboarding, one of your hips, depending on your stance, is going to be a little lower. So skating feels great, but then when you start to walk after a long day of skating, you kind of wobble a bit. Over days and months and years of that, there could be more of like a chronic pain that would build up from that. One of the ways to combat that is to skate switch stance, which is skating in your other stance. You can try tricks that counterbalance each other. You can spread that out so that you're not like having that excessive
That's how
strain on
switch
certain
bailing a
parts of your
biggie
body.
big spin.
Skateboarding, for better or worse, we do have a rap for having injuries, and so we've affectionately named a few.
Oh, whoa, that is not what I expected. What a clip. Where did they get these clips?
Injuries and
Back 5 into the bank. I was like, all right, he landed it. What could go wrong? And he power slides out to face hit. Holy
If you bang
sugar.
your elbow and it swells up, we call that a swellbow. Or there's names for injuries such as hippers, shinners. We've got shark bites when a board hits you. There's also the
Sack.
credit card, which you can imagine this part and landing in a certain way, which is definitely paints a picture. In skating on rails, there is a sacking the rail.
Yes.
You can imagine. Yeah, another injury.
I know this video sucks, but hey, any video where sacking gets mentioned, I respect it.
To mention, so if you're going really fast, so if you're bombing a hill, that's what we call it, going down a hill, you might end up falling or flying off your board, and then you get some pretty bad road rash from the abrasion there. So skateboarding has a reputation for having a lot of injuries, but in fact, over the course of a career, it's very similar to other very active sports such as basketball or soccer. One thing I think that is different with skateboarding is that a lot of the injuries
Yeah, he forgot Hot Pocket.
your fault. It's you and the board, and that there are a lot of injuries that can happen right in the beginning, and I do know that first couple times skateboarding is critical, because if you're putting your feet together, there's a lot of, like, I guess you could say rookie mistakes that are going to cause you.
I would say the reason skateboarding is different from every other sport is because to do skateboarding, you are actively taking risk constantly. Whereas in basketball, someone passes you the ball, you bounce it, you shoot. Zero risk. The risk is, oh no, you collided with the other player. Oh, this happened. Unique circumstance. But skating, every single time you ollie, you're at risk of slipping out. Every single time you ride, you're at risk of whatever, falling. So I think skateboarding is a little bit different in that regard, because like the whole thing is based around risk, and your competency goes up, and then you can take on bigger risks because you have higher competency. So it's like, that's more why they categorize it as extreme sport, because the risk is way different to basketball. I don't think you should ever compare it to basketball or soccer or swimming or something. Like, what's the risk in swimming? You pull a muscle, you don't wait 1 hour before swimming. Like, you know what I mean? It's very different, I feel like. So it's kind of a weird comparison.
Putting your feet together, there's a lot of, like, I guess you could say rookie mistakes that are going to cause you to fall right away. It's a bit difficult to get even the speed up or the ability to be able to jump off of something big enough to hurt yourself, that it's self-limiting in a way, because by the time you've gotten to the point of, say, jumping down a 3-stair, you've fallen
impact based,
many times up to that point that you've kind of become comfortable with it. There's a way there that you could kind of think like,
what are there any other sports that are impact based? Let me think. Like, obviously parkour. I guess running is like kind of impact based, like lowly impact based. But I mean, running's not really a sport as well. Like, do we count running as a sport? Man, what else? Is there any other ones that's really like impact based? I mean, let's just not count extreme sports. Yeah, I guess fighting. But even fighting, like, I wouldn't necessarily say that's impact. I would say it's like we are fighting. I feel like that's a kind of like a different thing. Head impact, yeah, exactly. I don't know. Is there anything where you're actively doing something going downward? I'm really trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I guess like NFL, like you tackling each other. Yeah, I guess hockey maybe. I guess. I feel like it's not as clean as, like, the whole thing in skateboarding is we go downward. We are always going downward. Whereas I guess if you're going, that kind of counts too, I guess.
Is kind of balanced by the difficulty of skateboarding in itself. I think learning how to skateboard could generally be difficult, because it's not something you can pick up right away, but I think that difficulty is what keeps us coming back to it. For myself, after 30 years of skating, I'm still learning new things and finding new challenges in it. There's always something new. Like I was saying, in skateboarding, falling is a given. We're going to fall as we try, or fall or bail.
I feel like they could have got a little bit better B-roll than
just
these guys skating flat.
More about it, and you might even be trying one trick, and in the
they had to
process
buy
of trying
stock
that,
footage because these guys didn't skate
accidentally do something else and stumble upon another area, and so you're kind of unlocking different tricks along the way.
The trick is what the board is doing, but the style is what the body is doing. When the board feel is right, and your feet are aligned with the bolts, you move as one. There's no telling where the board ends, and your body begins.
Man, like, shout out to these skaters in the thing, shout out to this skate yogi thing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, but this video was not good. Like, what is this? They had such a good title. Whoever's running the title department here, and even the thumbnail was pretty good too. Whoever's running the title department, A+. Whoever, like, actually wrote the narrative of the story, kind of weak. Kind of weak. This is the... Okay, yeah, so this is the guide of the skate lessons. But yeah, check out the vid. Lovely to watch, even though it wasn't the best, but that was still a fun journey. Title was probably AI, no way. That was a banging title. It got me very intrigued, but just the video didn't really deliver. What other videos this got? What Supercross really does to the human body. Bro! They're using the same title again. They know it works. Was there another one? What rollerblading does to the human... Oh, what basketball does to the human body? Damn, man. Really the exact same formula.